Hey y'all, it's Addie Ford, your host of the Cowgirl Closet Podcast, and welcome back to this week's episode. The Cowgirl Closet is a worldwide ranch production brought to you in part by Mule Alley. Legendary brands and trailblazing trends. Find your style on Mule Alley in the stockyards. I also want to give a huge thank you to our friends at AB Lino in downtown Fort Worth who help everyone wear their story. Hey y'all, I'm so pumped because today I get to sit down with Miss Kirstie. Kirstie, hi, and welcome to the Cowgirl Closet Podcast.
Thank you for having me. I'm thrilled to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to say that you look absolutely beautiful. Can you tell me a little bit about what you're wearing?
I'm wearing boots from Old Gringo. I love Old Gringo. And
the first thing I noticed whenever you walked in, they're so cute.
Thank you. And the blazer is from Good Babes Company.
Awesome. So for the people who don't know you yet, how can you describe yourself and what you're doing right now?
Right. I'm an equine photographer, which means I take pictures of horses. And I actually get to fly all over the country. I work for brands and a lot of different companies, but primarily my business is portraits between a girl and her horse. So I also do a lot of portraiture as well.
Okay. So you've been riding since age 3.
Yes.
And you've explored so many disciplines, hunter jumper, Western pleasure, reining. Which of those shaped you the most in your own opinion?
Oh my goodness. They all have. I started, when I first started riding horses, I started in dressage. And then I showed the all around. I did 4-H. I've ridden so many different breeds of horses, Arabians, quarter horses, paints, warm bloods. I mean, really, all of them just truly made me fall in love with the horse and give me so much appreciation for particularly how much heart the horses give us and their athleticism and whatnot. So, I mean, I've recently been doing cattle events and whatnot. And so I don't know if there's just one that I can pick. I truly think that being a more well-rounded equestrian has shaped my business particularly and how I approach photography in general. So yeah, I'm going to cop out of that question and say all of them.
Yeah, no, I mean, absolutely. So since we're on this horse topic, tell us about Tahoe, your heart horse. Yeah. What made him so special to you?
Okay, so I grew up riding multiple horses and owning multiple horses. But Tahoe was a paint horse that I had when I was in high school. And when people with horses describe a heart horse, like usually they've owned multiple horses in their lifetime, but there is one that on a deeper level they connect with. And so that was, probably the third or fourth horse I had owned at that point, but he was one that helped me understand myself on a much deeper level. And I just connected to him on a way deeper level than I did with my other horses. Okay. So that's why I kind of considered him my heart horse. Now I had to sell him. It was the agreement with my parents when I went off to college that I would sell all my show horses when I went to school. And so I knew that I was going to have to do that. I knew that there was going to be an end, but the hole that he left in my heart is truly what made me start this business. Yeah. In the first place. So
I'm guessing you were like super, super sad whenever that day had to come.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. I was excited for college. I was going to go ride for TCU's equestrian team. And so I knew that horses were still going to be a part of my life. But it wasn't until you get to the transition of like, how hard that is going halfway across the country, leaving your family behind. For me, leaving my favorite horse in the world behind. So it's such a bittersweet era because there's so much you're looking forward to. Yeah. But the goodbye stung.
So you really didn't grow up in Texas. Where were you living before you made the move to come here before college?
Yeah, I grew up in Oregon. Okay. And so I would come to horse shows down here. A lot of the big shows are in Oklahoma and Texas. So I would come down here and was very drawn to the culture and the scene. And it's where all the biggest horse trainers are. It's where the biggest horse shows are. It's, kind of like the mecca of the horse world. So I grew up showing in the Pacific Northwest and Oregon and Washington predominantly, but all of our big shows we would have to haul back here. So this, I looked especially at Fort Worth because the Paint World Show was here. So I looked at Fort Worth with big starry eyes of like this, you've made it. You made it if you've made it to Fort Worth, Texas,
that, answered my next question. I was going to ask why you chose TCU, but I mean, is there anything else that you want to say on why you chose TCU, or is that basically
Well, I mean, there were a number of colleges that I had offers from and that I had visited, but Fort Worth just felt like home. I think I did always idolize Fort Worth and the history that it has in the horse culture. You know, you have the biggest cuttings here, the snaffle bit futurities here, the paint world shows here. So it was just kind of like this dreamland for me. But also anything Fort Worth didn't have, Dallas had. So it's kind of like, you know, it felt like a small city, but then had the amenities of a big city too.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's grown since I went to college
really
here. Now
has.
it is a big city.
It is growing so fast.
City.
Yeah, it's growing so fast. So how did your bond with Tahoe inspire the kind of photographer that you became?
Okay, so this is kind of funny. I was missing Tahoe pretty intensely throughout college, and you know, all the team horses. It was great to be able to continue to ride, but it made me realize that the whole purpose why I liked riding was the relationship I had with my horse. And when you're in college, you draw a random horse at the meet, and you get 4 minutes to prepare. This is all new
to me. I didn't know
and you show
that.
a random horse.
Okay.
So at practice, we would ride 4 or 5 horses. At the competition, you would draw a completely random horse you've never ridden before, and it made me realize I like to ride because I like the relationship that I have with the animal. I don't necessarily like the competition, you know, trying to beat people, trying to have a perfect pattern or anything like that. I really discovered I enjoyed the time spent with the horses behind the scenes, you know, the relationship that we foster, because it's really unique. It's different than your dog, and it's different than a household, you know, like a cat or something like that, because they're your teammate. But also your pet, and also kind of your friend, to be honest. So
100%.
It's a really unique role that they play. So I was planning my own wedding at the time, and going through, you know, back then there were a lot of photography blogs that were extremely popular for wedding planning, and Pinterest was very popular back then. And so I was seeing and consuming all this wedding imagery, trying to plan my wedding. And I just kind of kept inserting a horse where the groom was in my head and being like, I love that darn horse as much as my fiance. Like, why don't I have any memories? I had show proofs of us competing together, but that the time that we spent in the arena was so small compared to the time that I spent with him in general. And so it just made me sad that I didn't have any portraits that captured the relationship I had with him outside of competitions. I was just consuming a lot of wedding photography and engagement photography, in trying to plan my own wedding. And in doing that, I felt very inspired to offer a type of portraiture where it would kind of storytell a relationship, between horse and rider.
So on that note, you went to college at TCU and you were studying finance, and you even dreamed of becoming a CFO one day. How did you end up pivoting from the world of finance to being a photographer?
When I graduated, I, kept going on the finance trail. So all my internships in college
were in finance.
And wealth management, to be specific. So, there were private equity groups and then asset management groups that I worked for. And so after college, I continued that and was in investor relations for an asset management firm, and really loved what I did there. But post-college, the horses on the team were my access to horses then.
Yep.
When I left the team, I had no more horses, and I had no more access to horses. So I started the photography business on the side, never intending to make it a full-time thing. It's just the only time I ever got around horses. I was living in uptown Dallas, and that's a concrete jungle.
I was about to say, it is nothing but concrete
you're
up there.
You're gridlocked in concrete. And so I didn't get to see horses daily. I barely got to see horses weekly. The only time I was getting to see horses is if I would go do photo shoots, and I started just a small part-time business. But that small part-time business grew pretty quickly, and it hit the point a couple years in where I kind of had 2 full-time jobs, and the finance job was very demanding. And so it was just getting to be too much to balance. And so I decided to take the photography full time.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, you love being around horses and all things. So that completely makes sense. Do you remember the first moment you picked up a camera and thought, this feels right? Or did he just like kind of fall into it?
It grew pretty organically. I borrowed roommates' cameras in college. I liked nice pictures, and
I think we all do in college.
Right?
Like, let's go take pictures.
I had friends with cameras, and on game days or whatever it would be, when we were dressed up, when we were going out, I would be borrowing their nice cameras. And so I bought myself a camera my senior year of college because I felt bad borrowing theirs all the time.
Yeah.
But at that point had zero intention of even starting a side business. I mean, I didn't have that foresight at all. It was just, I like pictures for myself. Mm-hmm. I want to document memories for myself. But I just was drawn to horses immediately. So as soon as I got that camera, I was practicing with it on the horses that were in the front pasture at my parents' house. And,
did your parents move here too?
No. Okay. So that was like when I was on breaks, winter break and summer break and whatnot. So yeah, it grew very organically and pretty slowly because it's not like I sought out to start this from the beginning.
When did you know that this wasn't just going to be like a side project? It was going to be your business. I know you kind of touched on that just a minute ago whenever you were talking about the finance thing, but was there like a certain day you were like, this is good enough to be my full-time job? Like, let's just do it, or?
Yeah. To be truthful, it was in a therapy session when my therapist was like, you need to quit your finance job.
Yeah.
I wasn't handling the stress very well. I had an autoimmune disorder, and one of the main triggers of it was stress. And so it was a really difficult decision. It was a very difficult decision because I loved that job so much. I loved who I worked for. I loved who I worked with. And I loved what I did. So it was difficult to do that, but I understood that stress was impacting my health. Taking pictures of horses was far less stressful.
Yeah.
And making my own schedule was nice, and working from home was nice. There were so many benefits, but still it's scary to leave, a salary and benefits and things like that and go be an entrepreneur. But yeah, to be truthful, that's what instigated the whole thing of just like, okay, you've built a very solid side business that can now support and sustain you. So made the decision to put in my 2 weeks notice and cash in on the self-employment gig.
I bet that was so scary, but
it's
look where you are now. Like, everything happens for a reason. God works in crazy ways. Like,
yes.
So
with hindsight, it's like, why didn't I do it sooner?
Yeah.
But in the moment, it was
it's
big
terrifying.
And
you don't know.
And
you're younger at that point in time.
A huge risk.
Yeah. 100%. So all of your images have this signature sun-soaked look. What draws you personally to that style of photos?
That's a good question. And there's a number of ways I can answer it. The wedding photographers who I was very inspired by, that was their aesthetic. And so I felt very inspired by that look. Now, being 15 years past that, I would say, I'm just so inspired by God's beauty. When I'm taking a picture, there's not a single piece of that picture that I constructed or put together. He made the light and the sun source.
Okay.
Like, he made the horse, he made the girl, he made the nature and the scene and everything like that. And all I'm trying to do is just like
capture him.
Yeah, capture just a small piece of the actual beauty that was in front of me. And so now I look at it a little differently rather than just interpreting what I was like the type of photography that I personally was drawn to back then. But yeah, I would say
okay.
I love natural light. I never work with artificial light sources. I don't even own a reflector, let alone
really I
flashes
did not know
or
that.
Anything like that. Yeah.
Wow.
And it's just because I just prefer the look of natural light, and I don't know.
So it's like saying that, is there a specific time of the day that you're like, okay, we have to go shoot right now? Or if some client's like, hey, let's go do a night shoot, you're like, oh gosh.
Yeah, that's not gonna work. I pretty much only shoot at sunrise or sunset when the light's really diffused and golden. And
awesome.
Yeah, pretty.
Yeah, see, you learn something new every day. I did not know that about you. So how do you bring out not only the rider's personality, but also the horse's spirit in a photo?
That's a good question. I like to spend some time before I even bring my camera out. I just want to get to know the person and the horse.
Yeah.
Because every horse's personality is different, just like every human's is. And there is so much of that spirit that I do want to capture. And so before I even take my camera out of my car, I want to meet the horse, get to know the horse, and watch the two of them interact. Because the way that they,
That's important too.
Yeah, the person approaches them, holds them, pets them, leads them, where they like to be scratched and whatnot. It's really different for everybody, and I want everything to be organic and natural and very authentic. And so I never want to force the posing on something like that. I'd rather give a prompt of scratch him in his favorite spot, or just pat him on his neck, and the neck is pretty big, so they can choose a spot from there. But I never want to manufacture something that looks really stiff or too posed or anything artificial. Like I just want to see them in their element, and then just try to capture and preserve what is natural.
I think that's what makes you two such an amazing photographer. That's awesome.
Thank you.
So you've worked with over 100 world champions. How does working with high-level competitors compare to everyday riders?
I would say a couple different things. Behind the scenes, most of it is all the same. I mean, most of the way that we treat and love and care for our horses is very similar. So whether that horse never made the show pen and it's just a little pasture potato that is somebody's heart and soul and they love it, that's all I care about. I just want you to love that horse, no matter what it accomplished. Or is about to accomplish. Because sometimes people want to come to me with a prospect that they have really high hopes for. It's a young horse that hasn't done anything yet. Sometimes I'm capturing horses in the height of their careers where they're winning machines and on a streak. My favorites are always the retirement sessions or really senior horses that, they have some age to their eyes and gray hairs and exactly. And we're just kind of, it's like a celebration of what they have accomplished, and some never hit the show pen at all. And so that's completely fine. What I will say about the people is that there's a common thread among highly, highly successful equestrians, and that is they are willing to do whatever it takes. And I love that so much, because not a lot of people get to see that sort of behind the scenes. I mean, them on their hands and knees cleaning, a hoof, or them just willing to go get anything, go do anything, get dirty. Like, not a lot of people get to see that for the people who are receiving a lot of glory in the arenas. If they're a $10 million rider, $5 million rider, people don't see how down to earth they are, but B, detail oriented and just willing to do any job. They will jump up and down next to me trying to get the horse's ears forward, because all they care about is the horse looking perfect. They're looking a fool themselves, but the horse needs to look perfect. And so that's something that I wish more people could see, that is a common thread of some like highly accomplished people.
Absolutely.
They're just willing to do anything.
Yeah. So you've said you create the images you wish you had with Tahoe. Yeah. What does that mean to you?
I would say I am extremely blessed now with a horse named Mojo, who means a lot to me, and I'm getting to be on the other side of it and receive the images that I deliver to my clients. So what is so neat is that the first, 5, 7, 10 years of this business, I didn't own horses myself. And so I was really hungry to deliver just what you said, deliver pictures that I wish that I had. You know, I sold that horse. He wasn't in my life any longer. I didn't have anything to remember him by that was the two of us together in a more intimate setting. And so that drove me and gave me a lot of hunger. Yeah. Now I'm blessed with an extremely nice horse that I love so, so much, but I do get to take a lot of pictures with him, and I am blessed to be able to capture that relationship. And I thought that if that scratch was itched or like that need was satiated, that I would find less of a drive.
But you haven't.
No.
It's feeding the fire more.
Exactly. And that's interesting because that at the beginning, like I was so hungry, like it was such a passion and drive of mine to make something for people like that. And now that I'm receiving that on the other side and I get to take pictures with Mojo, it's just interesting. Like I am so satisfied and I love that so much, but I stay hungry and I stay passionate almost because it's so sweet knowing how excited these girls are when they get their gallery.
Yeah.
You know, like now I actually know what it feels like, and it's great.
So touching on that a little bit, why do you think the bond between a girl and her horse is so universal and lasting?
Yeah. So it's not just a girl and her horse. I know that's predominantly
if you have a
what
story,
I photograph.
Feel free to tell
there are just many gentlemen. There are many gentlemen that I am blessed to photograph. So it really is just like, I try to say rider and their horse, but even then it's not fair because not all these people ride.
Yeah.
Some of these people just have horses and love horses. So it's really hard to actually like name and categorize like, I guess, horse-human connection or something like that to be able to like correctly categorize what I'm doing. But I forgot the original question now. Circle back.
Circle back. Why do you think the bond between a girl or just a rider and her or their horse is so universal and lasting?
Okay. This is really hard to articulate.
Yeah.
But I think it's what I was trying to say earlier is that the horse is a relationship unlike anything else.
Yeah.
They're a friend. You're telling them your secrets. You have goals and aspirations, especially if you're competing with them, but even sometimes if you aren't. So they're a teammate and you're trying to achieve something or do something together.
Yeah.
And so it's like a pet. I mean, my dog's my best friend too. Yeah. It's like a pet, but
in a different way.
It's very different, especially if you've owned them for a long time or gone through, if they've helped you go through life stages, if you guys have accomplished big goals together in a competition setting or not. It's very interesting. And I think that's why horse people understand each other on a certain level, because if you just bring up the conversation of horses, they're right at home and they're instantly comfortable.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really hard to articulate what that bond is because it's not something that I could relate to in any other manner.
Yeah. Okay, interesting. What's the best feedback you've ever gotten from a client about your work?
This, okay, there's a few.
Okay,
I'll choose two. One is women who struggle with body image issues. Seeing themselves in a different way or a new light is always extremely meaningful for me. Yeah. So sometimes, after the session, they will come to me and just thank me so much for being able to see themselves in a different way or a different light.
That's amazing.
That like weighs really heavy on my heart because, it's what I pray for before every single session. I want them to see how, beautiful God made them. And so that one is very special. The other is a lot more bittersweet because it usually happens after the horse passes. But a lot of people reach out to me about the meaning of the photos changed. Yeah. And now, it's worth so much more to them now that they don't have that animal if that animal has passed away. So there's a lot of reactions that I get from people and feedback that I get from people, but those two are very meaningful.
You're going to really like the new Fort Worth Stockyards app. It's everything you need right at your fingertips. See what's happening in real time, which means you'll never miss another cattle drive, happy hour, sidewalk sale, or your favorite band again. You can also use the app to buy show tickets, pay for parking, reserve a table, and even book a room. So saddle app, y'all. It's free, it's fun, it's the Stockyards. Download the app today at the Apple Store or Google Play.
All right, Kirstie, so since this is the Cowgirl Closet Podcast, I do kind of want to tie this a little bit more into fashion for a second. So my first question for you is, we always... So my first question for you is, how would you describe your personal style when you're dressing for a shoot or an event?
Okay. Honestly, different than what I'm wearing right now because I like light and bright and a lot of pink. My brand is very pink. So black kind of is off brand for me.
I'm wearing black too today, so it's okay.
Yeah, we coordinated. I would say light, bright, airy. I want to be confident. So I'm always dressing for, just understanding what I'm insecure about and what I love. And so I'm dressing myself for what I want to accentuate and what I want to minimize. And I suggest that to my clients as well, because I think the most important thing you can wear is confidence. Yep. The clothes are just an expression of you. But if you can feel good in what you're wearing, then that is, the epitome of it.
Yeah.
So.
And I think color has a lot to do with that because it's like color helps with your mood. I mean, if you put on something that's bright pink, it's going to automatically like brighten up your day rather than like what we're wearing, like black. It's like, but so you capture so much personality in your clients' photos. Do you ever help guide what they wear, or do you like them to bring their own style fully? You kind of just touched on that, but
okay. Some people want a lot of help, and in that case, I want to give them a lot of help. I'll tell them where to shop. I photograph a lot of fashion influencers, Western fashion influencers, and so that offers a lot of inspiration. And tagging all the companies and brands helps inspire my portrait clients to what they want to wear. Other clients of mine have got it. They want none of my help.
Yeah.
They are fashionistas themselves. You know, their closets are extensive archives of great Western fashion, and that's just as fun. So it doesn't matter to me whether they ask for my help and my opinion and try to offer them shopping spots, or they just show up.
Do you like to do that though?
I do like to do that. I do love to do that. But again, at the end of it, it's all about confidence, because that comes out on camera. If you're feeling insecure, especially insecure about what you're wearing,
it shows.
Yeah, there's a certain level of just tension that shows. And so that's what's important about when you put on an outfit that you feel like you look great in, you know, and you're getting hyped up by all your friends who are there.
Yep. That's the best feeling ever.
That comes out on camera.
Yeah. Awesome. What do you think makes the perfect horse plus rider outfit that photographs beautifully? In your own opinion.
I know. I'm really partial to dresses. I love long, flowy dresses, which is so impractical for an equestrian.
I think they like photograph so well, though. They really do.
They do. And there's something about the feeling of being barefoot on your horse. And I think it's because we never get to do it.
Yeah.
But there's something very freeing. So like if a girl wants to get on bareback, the first thing I do is pull it, whether she's in heels, wedges, cowboy boots, whatever it is. I'm like, pull the boots off, be barefoot.
Let's get this like natural, really fun, free picture.
Exactly, because that really changes the whole mood of her. I mean, the vibe of the picture, yes, but the mood of her. So while impractical, and I get drug on that online as well for the dresses that, you know, people wear next to horses, because they're like, you would never wear that at the barn. And it's like, well, this is kind of the point.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, 100%. All the pictures that like stand out to me, these women are usually wearing dresses. Like, it just is what it is.
Like we're romanticizing it. We want to look back with rose-colored glasses of the best of times, you know. So we want to feel beautiful, look beautiful. I love a long flowy dress, or just something that offers a lot of movement. Yeah. And then being barefoot.
Do you wear stuff? Yeah, especially like if you're in a field. It's just a little scary, but it is fun. What do you wear whenever you're taking pictures of somebody? Like, do you dress, you know, good and confident as well, or are you just like going more comfy? Or?
I am rolling around in the dirt. I'm sweating. I'm getting all the angles. I'm standing in bodies of water where I'm scared for my life, because here in Texas, there's like snakes and whatnot. So I'm actually dressed way down. I'm very practical. So yeah, a lot of like shorts or yoga pants, always tennis shoes, because
that's definitely
I'm
a safe way to
everywhere. I'm this way, that way, here, there, and yeah, I will do anything for the shot. So a lot of times I'm just like belly on the ground, laying down.
Yeah. If we peeked into your closet right now, what's the one piece you couldn't live without?
Oh, geez. I mean,
that's a hard question.
I live in sweatpants because 95% of my job is editing the photos and, you know, the back workings of the business and whatnot. So when I'm home, I rarely am out of sweatpants.
Yeah, me too. I did some retail therapy yesterday at Target, and I bought some sweatpants. And I don't need any more, but it's so comfy, and you can make it cute too. So yeah, I did that. Mom, if you're watching, I told my mom I didn't do that. I'm sorry, I did. Oops. So do you see fashion as part of your storytelling in your photography?
I think that it is, in the sense that it is an outward expression of a person's inward personality. Yeah. So I think that, I mean, it matters in the imagery a lot, because it changes the aesthetic completely. If somebody's
100%.
Wearing something like punchy, rock and roll, hard, that is completely going to change the way I pose them and the expressions that I want them to have over something whimsical and, you know, free flowy, hippie, like movement, boho, whatever. So I think that it changes it greatly, but again, I want it to be authentic to the person, and I want that to be an outward expression of who they are as a person. So whether it's a piece of their personality showing, and they're multidimensional as a human too. So if they're going to wear 3 to 5 outfits, some of my people have wildly different 3 to 5 outfits.
That would be me. 100%. Yeah.
And that's great. You know, we'll capture multiple parts of your personality, and what that means. But
on that note, I don't think I asked you this earlier, but what would you describe your like Western fashion as? Like I describe myself as punchy.
Okay.
What would you be?
Okay. I'm not one to jump on trends. I like to invest. I love the trends, and I love photographing the trends, and I love the girls jumping on the trends. But if I'm going to invest my money, and especially with how much these boots and hats and everything are costing, so expensive, I'm kind of more timeless because I want to be able to recycle. You know, if I wore it at the NFR 5 years ago, let's pull it back out this year. You know what I mean? So I kind of like, I guess it'd be just more traditional because I like timeless, and I want to be able to keep it in my closet for a long time. So I'll invest in a lot of turquoise. Yep. I have a lot of turquoise invested. I have a lot of boots invested. You know, I put a lot of money in hats and staples that are just like quintessential Western fashion. And that way you can swap things out year to year. But if you would look at a picture, I wouldn't want you to be able to say the year, you know what I mean? Based on the trend, be like, that's definitely 2017 based on what she's wearing or something like that. I don't know. So I kind of,
No, I love that though. I really do.
Nothing against the trends whatsoever. But for me, if I'm going to put a lot of money down,
in that, so that's good.
I just want it to be in my closet for 20 years, 30 years, pass it down to my kid, you know, and
I have a lot of my mom's like hand-me-down stuff, like Western stuff. So, and I love it. And it's something you can look at and you don't sit there and say, oh, like she got that from Target 2 days ago, or that's a hand-me-down from her mom. Like it's so, I'm not wearing any turquoise again this week, dang, but it's all so beautiful and like well-rounded and you really can't tell. So I love that kind of stuff. So when you step in front of a camera yourself, how would you describe your own style? Kind of just touched on that. But more detail.
Again, not what I'm wearing now because it is soft and feminine. Like I would say I like to dress soft and feminine. I like movement in the clothing, whether that's fringe or layers or, you know, something to offer a little bit more movement. Not accurately represented now, but a lot of blush pink. It's my favorite. So there's a lot of like whites and off-whites, golds.
I love gold.
Love gold. I love a soft pink. Honestly, any shade of pink. I just love pink. It's like my happy color. It just makes me happy.
It definitely does give off, you know, happy vibes. What inspires you creatively outside of horses?
Oh my gosh. My whole life is horses. I don't know if there is anything outside of horses.
And you know, if not, that's okay, but I'm sure there's something.
Okay. Nature in general. So, I mean, I'm very inspired by a beautiful sunrise or a sunset, open fields, big pastures. Any type of agriculture, really. Wheat fields, cornfields.
Yeah, I mean, it's all beautiful. It's all God's creation. So that's a really good answer to that question. How do you want your brand to feel when someone looks at your work?
Good question. For me, for the person in the picture, I want them to have their best memories with their favorite horse. So I wanted to instantly take them back to the highest high feeling right there of like, you know, that was the best moment. To an outsider looking at the work, I hope that they see God's beauty. I hope that they see beautiful light and a really stunning horse. But that they're just uplifted. I try to just have like I'm an eternal optimist. So I want them to feel better. I want them to feel happy. I want them to feel inspired. So if they're looking at that image, I want them to leave in a better mood. And I want that to come across the imagery.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you right now that you're definitely on the right track with that. Whenever I went and looked at your social media, I was just like, this is awesome. And it's so real and it's so unique. I loved it. Like, I don't have a horse, but I left your page just like smiling. It was awesome. So,
well, thank you.
What advice would you give to young women who are chasing passions that might not line up with what they studied in school?
Yeah, I think there's passion's laid on your heart for a reason, and you just have to really stay soft to what you think God is calling you to do.
Yep.
So I have absolutely no regrets with what I studied, the places that I worked and the track that I was on. And I still feel like I was there for a season and a reason. And all of that was correct. But then I took a really hard turn because I was just able to be soft and receptive and not look at everything I had built going in the finance direction, not looking like that was a waste. But now I'm just building something new on top of it.
And if you ever really wanted to, you could get back into that finance career. So
always felt
it's never truly gone. So
exactly.
If Tahoe pause on that one. If Tahoe could see your life and career now, what do you think he'd say?
Oh my goodness. What a good question. I hope he'd be proud.
He would be. You know it.
I hope he misses me.
He does. That too.
He went on to have an amazing life with the sweetest girl in the world. I put a clause in the contract saying she had to sell him back to me. She's never going to sell him. She loves him to death. And that's the best.
Are y'all
thing.
still in contact?
We are. Yeah.
That's good.
Every couple of years she'll send me a picture of him. He's getting up there in age there now. So but he looks great and she takes perfect care of him. So
Well, that's awesome. Where can people find you, follow along, and see your work?
I am everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Kirstie Marie Photography.
Yep.
My website's KirstieMarie.com. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Kirstie, thank you so much for coming down to Fort Worth today and sitting down and being our co-host on the Cowgirl Closet Podcast. I've really enjoyed getting to know you a little bit better and hear more about your story.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you again to Kirstie. It was so much fun getting to sit down, talk to her, and hear a little bit more about her journey and her experience in this world that she's in. I really enjoyed it, and I hope you all did too. This has been another amazing episode of the Cowgirl Closet Podcast, a worldwide ranch production brought to you in part by Mule Alley. You can explore Mule Alley's curated collection of tastemakers, artisans, and trailblazers from anywhere. Simply download the free Fort Worth Stockyards app at the Stockyards store or Google Play. Stay tuned for next week to see more amazing content. If you're not following our Instagram or our YouTube, make sure to go, like, subscribe, and follow all of our social media. So on that note, lastly, before I say my goodbyes, I want to give a huge thank you to AB Lino. We could not have done this episode without our friends here at AB Lino, who let us film in their beautiful custom clothing boutique in downtown Fort Worth. Until next time, I'm your host, Addie Ford, and I will see you where the ranch meets the runway.